What if I told you that you could earn thousands of extra pounds this year and not pay a single penny of tax on it? I know, it sounds almost too good to be true, right? Well, it's not.
Yep, you heard me right. We're talking about an extra £7,500. And here's the kicker. Following today's 2025 budget announcement, it's entirely possible. That's real money in your pocket with the taxman getting nothing.
So, how do you actually do this? Well, to get it right, we've brought in the heavy hitters. The experts at the brilliant UK firm My Tax Accountant have done the hard work for us. They've dived deep into the brand new budget to put together this guide, showing us exactly where the opportunities are for the 2025 to 26 tax year. All right, let's get into it. Here's what we're going to cover. First up, a couple of super useful £1,000 allowances. Then, the real headliner, a whopping £7,500 scheme. We'll also touch on selling your own stuff tax-free, and finally, how your personal allowance pulls it all together. Let's do this.
Okay, first on our list is the trading allowance. And to make this super clear, let's talk about Sarah. She's a marketing pro in London, but on the weekends, she's all about making handmade jewelry. She starts selling it online just as a bit of a passion project, and before she knows it, it's a proper little side hustle. This is exactly where the trading allowance is a total game changer.
So, what is it really? Think of the trading allowance as the hobby allowance. It's basically a tax-free pass for the first £1,000 you make from things like self-employment, casual jobs, or, well, hobbies. It was literally created to make life easier for people with small side gigs exactly like Sarah's.
Right, here's the magic number you need to burn into your brain. £1,000. If your total income, that's your gross income, from that hustle is £1,000 or less for the tax year, you owe zero tax on it. And get this is the best bit. You don't even have to tell HMRC about it. No forms, no tax return, it's totally automatic. Simple as that.
Okay, but what happens if you earn more than £1,000? This is where it gets interesting, and you've got a choice to make. Let's say Sarah's business is booming and she makes £1,800. Look at the two options. Option 1, she just uses the £1,000 allowance. That leaves £800 that's taxable. Easy. But hang on, she spent £1,200 on silver, beads, postage, all that stuff. So in option 2, she can forget the allowance and just deduct her actual expenses. That brings her taxable profit down to just £600. The crucial thing to remember here is you can't do both. It's one or the other. You have to run the numbers and pick whichever saves you the most money.
And the good news keeps on coming. There's actually a sister allowance to that one, but this time it's for property income. It works on the exact same £1,000 tax-free idea, just for a different kind of side hustle. So let's say Sarah realizes her empty driveway is prime real estate for commuters. Well, that's where the property allowance steps in.
So let's make sure we're super clear on this. Trading allowance. That's for selling things or providing a service, your freelance writing, your Etsy shop. Property allowance? That's for renting out land or property you own, like that parking spot or maybe a garage for storage. They are two completely separate allowances, each with its own £1,000 limit. And here's a pro tip for you. You can actually use both in the same year for different things. Just remember, you can't claim more than £1,000 in total against property income.
All right, so we've talked about those handy £1,000 allowances. They're great. But now, we're about to go to the next level. Seriously. Stay with me on this one, because the number I'm about to show you is a real eye-opener. Let's go back to Sarah. Her housemates just moved out, and suddenly she's got a spare room and is a bit worried about the rent. This is where the single most generous tax-free scheme in the UK becomes her lifeline.
Now, before I drop the big number, just ask yourself this question. Do you have a spare, furnished room in your main home, the place you actually live? If you're nodding your head right now, well, you could be sitting on an absolute tax-free goldmine.
And there it is, £7,500. That's the power of the rent-a-room scheme. You can earn that much every single year completely tax-free just by letting out a furnished room to a lodger. That's £625 a month straight into your bank account, no tax. And here's a little did you know for you. If you own the house jointly and share the income, that allowance is split, so you can each earn £3,750 tax-free. Pretty amazing, right?
Now, of course, there are a few rules you've got to play by, the golden rules, if you will. First, the room has to be furnished. Second, it has to be in your main residence. Simple enough. And the best part? If you earn less than that £7,500 limit, the whole thing is automatic. But, and this is important, if you go even £1 over that limit, you have to complete a tax return. And like we just said, if you're splitting the income, the limit for each of you is £3,750.
Okay, so far we've talked about earning money from services and rentals. But what about just selling your stuff? You know, the hidden value in your attic or garage. This is where we need to talk about something called capital gains tax. Let's imagine Sarah inherits some beautiful antiques, but she just doesn't have the space. If she sells them for more than they were worth, that profit or gain could be taxed. But you guessed it, there's a tax-free allowance for that too.
For the 2025-26 tax year, that magic number is £3,000. It's called the annual exempt amount. This means you can make a total profit of up to $3,000 from selling personal assets in one tax year without paying a penny of capital gains tax. And this applies to all sorts of things: shares, artwork, those antiques we mentioned, you name it.
Now, this is a really important one to pay attention to because this is where people can easily get caught out. This allowance has been slashed. As you can see, just a couple of years back, you can make over £12,000 in profit tax-free. Then it was cut to £6,000, and now, thanks to the latest 2025 budget, it's down to just £3,000 for this coming tax year. That's a huge drop, which makes it absolutely critical to know the new rules.
So, we've gone through all these specific allowances, which are brilliant, but let's not forget the big one, the foundation for all your income, and that's your personal allowance. You see, even if your side hustle makes more than that £1,000 trading allowance, it doesn't automatically mean you'll owe tax. It all comes down to how much you're earning in total.
Let's pull this all together with our friend Sarah one last time. Imagine she's now working part-time, making £8,000 a year. And that little jewelry business, it's flying. She's making £4,000 a year from it. So her total income is £12,000. Now look at the chart. The personal allowance for the year is £12,570. Her entire £12,000 income fits comfortably underneath that with room to spare. So what does that mean? It means she pays zero, nothing. No income tax at all, even with 2 jobs.
So the crucial point here is that your personal allowance is the absolute cornerstone of tax-free earning in the UK. And for the 2025 to 26 tax year, that number is £12,570. The government has also confirmed it's going to be frozen at that level right through until 2028. That's really useful to know because it gives you a stable number to plan around for the next few years.
Wow, we have covered a lot of ground today, haven't we? We've looked at some really powerful, totally legitimate ways to keep more of your own money. These aren't loopholes, they're government-approved schemes designed to help you. From a tiny hobby business to renting out a whole room. So let's just quickly wrap this up and talk about what you should do next.
Think of this table as your cheat sheet. You've got your £1,000 allowances for small-scale stuff. You've got the massive £7,500 for the rent-a-room scheme. You've got the £3,000 allowance for selling personal items. And holding it all up is the big one, your £12,570 personal allowance. Just figuring out which of these apply to your situation is the absolute first step to becoming more tax-savvy.
Okay, and I have to be really clear about this next part. Please remember that everything we've talked about today is for general guidance. It is not formal financial advice. Tax law is seriously complicated, it changes all the time, and your personal circumstances are unique to you.
So, what are your next steps? 3 simple things. 1. Have a proper think about your side hustles and which of these allowances could work for you. 2. And this is a biggie, it's non-negotiable. Keep good records. Track every single penny in and every penny out. It's vital, especially if you have to choose between an allowance and your expenses. And third, and most importantly, to make sure you get it right and make the most of these opportunities, talk to a professional.
And that's where the team at My Tax Accountant come in. For expert, personalized advice that's tailored specifically to you and your side hustle, they can help create a plan that works. You can give them a call on 0208-570-8531 or drop them an email at info@mytaxaccountant.co.uk. Thanks so much for tuning in for this guide.